She calls us away from the world to journey inwards where a path of sacred introversion beckons. Turning within may feel natural or unfamiliar, but in journeying within, you will gain energy, insight, and freedom from the constraints of what has been. Allow that which needs to end to do so. You shall realize you are not being denied, but released. There is something new on the horizon. Honor your losses, but keep hope in your heart for what is meant to be. We opened with a message from the Kali Oracle. Nitya Kali. This is what was on the bottom of the deck when I picked up these cards. I hadn't shuffled them yet. And I knew that I wanted to open up the Cardinal Alchemy download with this deck. I wanted to bring in Kali Ma's energy because she came in earlier through some imagery. And I posted a message on the community with what came through when I saw that image of her. And absolutely with Libra in the Cardinal energy, as well as Aries, we are looking at those dynamics with Chiron in Aries, the deepest wound of the self, and how we navigate that in terms of the reflection we see in the mirror of others. And I thought the story of Kali Ma and Shiva was just such a beautiful representation on how we get through the wounding to get to the other side. And there was so much that came in on your download. I have so much to bring in for the collective here. This is a collective download. I will be doing individual reads for all of the cardinal signs, as I will for all of the different elemental expression sign groups. But we're opening first with the collective read so we all understand how to work with these different qualities of elemental expression, because we all embody them at one time or another. And this is pretty significant territory that we're moving through. So much around the moon, and the cycles came in for the cardinal energy, and we're going to talk about it. But you could even use this as a meditation point, a focal point. Notice how it looks like an eye. It is the unfolding, the awakening of the third eye, Ajna. It is the awakening of vision. It is the awakening of psychic sight, of intuition. I also felt strongly called to the color silver. In fact, I've been very drawn to the color silver over the past couple of days. And so silver is a color that is associated with psychic insight. It's associated with clarity. It's also associated with the feminine, with the lunar essence. And it is known for warding as well. It has a protective quality to it. It protects you from vampires and werewolves and all those things that can come around and take a bite out of you when you least expect it. So I think that this is kind of an interesting energy to be coming through. And I thought, why is this like protective quality coming through? And instead of viewing it as a danger, I was getting quite a different impression, almost like certain experiences must be protected because there's something of reverence contained within them. And I feel that is the energy you're moving into. And it was 3:17 on the clock when I went into that, the Empress energy, entering in through the stargates. Something is transforming here. Something is changing here. And it is coming in thick and fast. It is coming in very mercurial. Mercurial is thick and fast. It comes in on the wind, and it is very unpredictable, but it is the avenue that takes you where you need to go. And it does seem to rise up out of the ether, and it will take you someplace meaningful. So meaningful. At this time, it is so important that you are focused on balance and that you are taking that time, that space, the breath, the pause. This coming through strongly for Libra. It's time to balance the scales, to be the center point that knows how to hold shadow and light in equilibrium. And of course, we have this energy coming through on the 22nd with the fall equinox, the official start of Libra season. And this is a time to prioritize your growth, to prioritize your meaningful relationships, and also to prioritize yourself, your nurturing, and what you need to find that sense of perfect ebb and flow where you can really give yourself over to the waterway and where that current is carrying you, because where that current is carrying you is to the rebirth of Venus. And we're going to lay this all out. I'm going to talk to you about it while we go ahead and open up with this energy. I think I feel called to bring in Kali because she holds both destructive and creative energies, much like her counterpart Shiva. And so there is something about the counterpart coming in here. There is something of a star mate coming in here, or a path that leads to star mates where others will join you. And this is of great significance. But we also want to look at the dissolution, what's unraveling, what is spiraling out to make it possible for what wants to spiral in, and how to be the center point of that in that liminal space while you're in the waiting room before delivery. Okay, this is rebirth energy coming in, but I did want to get a little clue coming in from Kali Ma, and then we'll dive into your download, which is full of numerological significance, all kinds of synchronicities, and is highly tinged by the mutable quality of Mercury. And of course that factors in the mutable signs Virgo and Gemini, who also have Mercury as their ruler. Once again, we're going to reiterate the message that came in on the mutable alchemy download to pay attention to Mercury in your chart. Check out where you have Mercury, what sign is it in, what house is it in. You might want to check out your Mars as well, especially with Aries on the scene and the cardinal download. Mercury-Mars synergy is a thing. It is very powerful within the chart, also powerful within the charts of those that you are partnering with, okay? So you want to clue into this energy right now. And with that, that feels like a good stopping point. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, do you see the sweetness of the bloom? You're rising up. You're rising up out of the mud, out of the muck, out of all those long, hard miles you were slogging through the thick of it. It felt at times like it was an exercise in futility. You were moving through quicksand, but here comes the unfoldment. And allow it to unfold. Don't try to force open the bloom. Soften into it, release into it. Actually, I almost see this as a visualization coming through. For the cardinal energy, how to really work with the cardinal energy, envision the belly button, the navel, as the center point of that lotus, and envision a lotus there softly opening up into expansion, unfurling its petals. This will help open you to the creative channel that wants to be awakened at this time because of a musing quality that is coming in here. This is coming in with the energy signature of 3811. It is that Libra energy. It is justice. It is balance. But it also breaks down to 2, and that is the High Priestess. And this energy signature came through very strongly in the cardinal read. I brought up before on the channel that I've noticed great similarities between the High Priestess and, now I want to pull out the gold. Okay, and this will be of significance soon. Oh, these 2 cards came off the fairy deck. Oh, just one. Okay, we'll set this aside to look at later. It'll be a little surprise to see what that is. The Gilded Tarot. This is factoring in for me to pull this out, but I do want to find these cards as I talk about this. Oh, Judgment on the bottom, okay? Sagittarian energy also speaks of rebirth. So we got this energy on the scene. This is what is coming down. There was a judgment that came through. You may have heard the call, you may have not, but it will be evident. You will see what the final judgment is by the time that we arrive on the Hunter's Moon, which it's funny because in the mutable download, I said it was on the 17th in Aries. Well, it was on the 17th in Aries, not this year, but back in 2024. So yes, this energy looping back around. Now, what's fascinating about this is I got a very special download around Quicksilver. Quicksilver, just as I said, Quicksilver, we got Justice on the scene. I found Justice, okay? Now I got to find the High Priestess here. Oh, and right after that, there's the Empress. Well, she does factor in too. So we're going to bring her in, 10:22 on the clock when that came in. Oh, and of course, there comes the Emperor right after that with the 22 signature. That's the 4, okay? So we have Aries, Libra coming in, those archetypes here. And what's being thrown away, this is what just landed on the floor. We have the 5 of Cups. So the sense of loss is being tossed aside because the true alignment is coming in here. Emperor to Empress energy, brand new learning cycle, turning of the wheel of fortune, right? So Quicksilver. I heard the word Quicksilver come in because I was thinking, why am I feeling so drawn to silver? What is this about? Well, of course, it's Mercurial, the magician says, holding up the wand, Gemini energy. And this is quite prominent because of astrologically what's going on at this time. In fact, tomorrow we will have Venus square Uranus in Gemini. Now, squares are normally a topsy-turvy kind of energy. It's difficult, it's tense, but there's illumination coming through with the Virgoan archetype here that says there is a way to work with this with wisdom. And we got Libra here backing that up, Queen of Swords saying, yes, it's the truth. You'll see when I lay down this download for you. This is interesting how this is coming in. This is not what I was planning. And that's a little clue about how we can get to Ragnarok, all right? You have to be able to drop your plans and embrace the unbridled wisdom and yes, sometimes folly, but even folly can have its purpose of the fool, all right? You have to throw a little caution to the wind here. You'll be surprised where those winds carry you. Aries energy, Aquarian energy coming out there, okay? There is something coming in here. It is the Stargate. It is the fulfillment of the hope of the star. But beyond that, something more. There is a message of the High Priestess here as I search for her. This star in the center is Ishtar's star, okay? So Ishtar has associations with that heavenly queen Inanna. And this is a story about rising. It's a story about rising and shining after a little equilibrium is established through some inner alchemy so the outer world may be transformed. And of course, we know we have to enter through the portal of the cycles of life, which includes the deaths that bring the rebirth. Scorpio energy, that new moon in Libra that will come in on the 21st of October that is at the cusp of the Scorpio season, all right? Third decanate Libra energy factoring strongly. I know now after this download that came in, which I really look forward to sharing with you, after we find this High Priestess, but I have a feeling she's kind of hiding out here because she wants to spin the tail in this way. Where is she? She's MIA. She's MIA. Well, let's go another round here. Where is the High Priestess? Oh, is she chained up with the devil? I see. She's down in the underworld with Hades. She's extracting the wisdom of how she's revered her chains, and she's going through that lunar initiatory process that was entered into with the harvest moon that Pisces brought in, the eclipse, the total eclipse. Yes, first we have to fumble our way through darkness before we can break on through to the other side, before we can hitch a ride with that Cancerian energy and have our chariot that gets us to Ragnarok. There's a certain riddle to be resolved in order to find the way through the polarization. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. So Quicksilver. All right, I guess we're going to talk about this while I'm finding the Priestess. When I heard the word Quicksilver, oh, there she comes. Okay, she's like, yes, here, Quicksilver. Yes, we're back where we started, because when I said Quicksilver, that's when Justice came in. And now we have the 2, the High Priestess. Look, even the 11 is hinted there on the pillars. Do you see how they light up silver with the reflective light? I'm so excited to share this download with you all. It's so freaking magical, man. I was going to say, now normally squares are a real drag, but what have we been talking about? We've been talking about this a lot. You got to break down the boxes, okay? If you break down the boxes, you're not going to have any issues with this energy, you understand? If you break down the boxes, it will be easy for you to see the way through with your I am consciousness, all right? So remember this. Anytime you start feeling boxed in, and you may feel that tomorrow, remind yourself, move into mutability, soften, 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 soften. Uranus in Gemini is a much better transit than when Uranus was in Taurus. Taurus is fixed. Taurus don't like that changeable, mutable energy. Uranus and Gemini are like, hey, we got something to work with here. We can do all kinds of stuff with this. It is really the awakening of the Magi. It is the awakening of that magician, that high priestess, that wizard. It is the ability to tap into source and to pull a proverbial rabbit out of the hat, to pluck diamonds out of the void. That is this energy. And I'm sticking to it. These energies are one and the same. And I think this is a little bit of the mystery that is hidden in the High Priestess that's often not talked about. Because when we look at the journey of Persephone, which is hinted at here with the pomegranate that is behind the High Priestess there, Persephone eats those pomegranate seeds to journey down to greet Hades with the fall equinox. So there's a big indication here that there's similarities, and we almost see like the truth spoken here with Justice holding up the sword of truth, and there's the scales of balance. They're balanced out. They're in equilibrium. Well, those scales are in balance at the time of the equinoxes. And see the story of the High Priestess. And when I speak of the High Priestess, I'm talking of the archetype, the mythos. When is she reborn? She's always reborn at the spring. So I feel like this is a very dualistic energy. And to me, this is coming through as 1111. When I discovered that, yes, the Aries full moon did come in on the 17th last year, I was like, okay, now I need to know, when is it coming in this year? Well, it's coming in on the 6th. Okay, so the 6th, that carries that Gemini signature. Again, it carries the Gemini signature of the lovers, the choice, right? But it's also the energy of Venus. And I was like, okay, this is getting really interesting because, you know, Libra, cardinal energy, is Venus, and Aries, cardinal energy, is Mars. So they are across from each other. They are descending signs to each other. And so I was like, what time is that full super moon hitting? Because last year was an eclipse energy for that Aries moon. This year, it's not. This year, it's all lights on in the room. So this is coming to the other side of moving through that shadowy territory. It comes in at 8:47 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Take 47, that breaks down to 11. So we got the Strength archetype of Leo. We got the Justice archetype. You do have the strength to overcome the challenges of the past. You do have the ability to balance out the karma. 2022 on the clock. Judgment, okay? Judgment for energy. With that super moon, you will arrive at that place of empowerment. The Emperor is on the scene. When we look at Eastern Standard Time, it drops at 11:47 p.m. And that breaks down to 11:11, okay? 11:11, break that down further, is 2:2, all right? And that equals 4. The Emperor. This is very much the story of Emperor to Empress, Magician to High Priestess. All right? This is what we're working with here. This is quite the alchemical moment. You see? And it's funny, we look at this, I didn't even think of that. 2 plus the 1 equals 3, the Empress. Wow. Now I know why I felt called to pull that deck. Okay, wasn't even planning on going there, but now I really feel like I have to look at this fairy card. I have no idea what that is, but when I reached for this gold, could this symbolize the gold of the Tuatha De Danann that turns a disappointment into something to toast? Let's see. What is this card? 4 of Leaves. Rest. Rest on that sword. Rest on that sword of truth. I think it's speaking of that sword that justice holds up. The Leaf's energy is the sword's energy in this deck. So yes, nest, rest, self-care. Okay, very interesting. I'll shuffle this now as I open up with this Quicksilver message. So, okay. Wow, wild. This just keeps coming. It just doesn't stop, man. This energy is pretty cool. I have to say, I love it. If you work with it the right way, it's great. Those of you who are more Orisian minded, those of you who color outside the lines, those of you who tap more into the creative play space, those of you who like to mock up the most optimistic, fantastical reality tunnels, this is going to be a swim for you. In fact, it's going to be such a swim, you're going to be able to just float on your back and just enjoy the view of those stars as you head on to your Stargate here. I think this like rebirth is going to be so easy. The only thing that is going to make rebirth difficult is if you're trying to do it in a box, you know, if you're boxed in by borders. This is borderless territory. So there really is a need to break down those boxes and really truly embrace that state of mutability here. Onward. 6 is significant. Pay attention to this. 6 energy is quite powerful at this time. Any combination of 6 coming in as a synchronicity. This is a major download, so bear with me, okay? It's got a lot of movable parts and it continues to expand by the second, right? So I heard Quicksilver, and then the next thing I heard was Quicksilver Messenger. And I was like, Quicksilver Messenger? Well, that's got to be Mercury, right? That's got to be Mercury. And then I was like, wait, that's a band. Quicksilver. Oh, it'll serve it up quick for sure. There's a message that's going to be served up quick. You're already tapping into it just as you're tuning into this download. You're automatically being initiated into the energy signature. That's what I'm hearing. So expect the messages are going to start to come in real fast. The synchronicities are going to start to come in real fast because this is a stream of consciousness that's being downloaded here. And this too is a waterway. And when you receive it, then you become a transmitter of it too. Oof, okay. And it's something that is beyond words. It's conveyed beyond words, okay? So just let it flow through you. Don't try to explain it to people because they won't be able to understand it. They can only receive it. Whoa. Dakini medicine. Yes. Ooh. Coming in with number 17, the star. Blue Tara. I got so much sentience. Look at her there. Teaching how to overcome that which is the shadow, that which does keep one from being able to fully embrace their unfoldment, but also showing the wisdom of what can be found in the dark. If you dive real deep in the deep blue sea, you can find sunken treasure there. If you do look up into that dark indigo sky when that full moon is on the rise, you will spot a pearl of wisdom there. You may have been plucking diamonds. You may also find pearls, diamonds and pearls. This is very creative energy, but it's creativity that is plucked out of the darkness. It is creativity that's plucked out of the unknown. And it's in that space of feeling that not knowing that everything is found, that all the information that comes through is so brilliant, it lights up the path ahead, just like that lantern that the Hermit holds in the South Node. It will show you the waterway to the North Node of Pisces.